All right, we are live. We are live. Hello, 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 ladies. I hope you're
Hello.
doing well today. Everybody, you're looking lovely, 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 ladies. Welcome to tonight's National Day of Service. This is brought to you by the Presidential Inaugural Committee. We've been invited to actually host this event. Very excited about it, proud, overwhelmed. I might even cry a little bit tonight, so y'all just excuse me. I got my little tissues here,
Oh,
but I'm excited. I'm excited about this event and about what we're going to be talking about tonight. Um, we're going to kind of introduce each other. So I'll let uh, Miss Letitia go ahead and introduce.
my Lord.
I
Okay.
know.
She would call me out right then and there. But
Wow, I
but
know.
I am so elated to be able to introduce this amazing woman of God. I have been around her, I've known her for a long time. But God brought us together here in Durham, North Carolina. We are both graduates of Winston-Salem State University. Sure. Yeah, we're both graduates of Winston-Salem State University. And what God has done in this woman's life, I just keep watching. And I know I'm gonna read a bio, y'all. Calm down, calm down. I'm gonna get there, but I have to just throw in my little bits and pieces because she's doing so many amazing things, and I'm just elated to be a part of her process. I'm thankful to be a part of her process. To see her from then till now, to even be, I'm not trying to make you cry, Nikiki, I promise you. But,
I ain't ready yet.
but
I'll cry later.
okay, but it's even to be in a part of her father's life. I was a nursing home
Oh,
administrator,
now you're gonna do it.
able to meet her dad and take care of her dad, and back in I mean, it's just been an amazing process. And in 2013 or 14, I think I actually gave her first speaking engagement and gave her the title Forgiveness.
Yes.
And to watch her from that time of I think I probably that was your first time having a coach or going through all of that. I think that
Yep.
was it. And to watch her, was it easy? No. But was it worth it? Yes. To be right here with you right now and to read her bio, to what God is doing in her life, I am honored. Okay. And I am introducing Nakikia A. Wilson, aka Coach Keep It Moving, a native of Kinston, North Carolina, now living in Durham with three children. She is a graduate of Winston-Salem State University, where she earned her BA degree in radio and television broadcast. She worked for the ABC 45 in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and WB22 Raleigh, North Carolina, as a technical director for broadcast news. After several years in the broadcast television industry, Nakikia realized her passion was in healthcare, education, and advocacy. Nakikia earned her master's degree in health services administration from Strayer University, armed with a graduate education and a passion to utilize what she learned. She obtained positions with organizations such as Price Waterhouse Coopers. Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And MAMC Health Plans,
Mm-hmm.
United Healthcare, Humana, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, gaining extensive experience to promote healthcare literacy and understanding in the community. Currently, Nakikia is employed with the Department of Veterans Affairs as a certified advanced medical support assistant, helping veterans coordinate health and wellness services at the Durham VA Medical Center and in the community. She is also certified as an emotional support trainer and facilitator through the Community Healing Network. In addition, she is also a certified and emotional intelligence and life coach and mental health awareness advocate. She is the founder and president of KIM, Keep It Moving For You Incorporated. I'm
Yeah,
going to put a little side note. I wrote that 501c.
she did.
Hallelujah. With the organizational mission is to empower the community through awareness, education, advocacy, and supportive services that aid in the understanding of prevention or management of mental illness and chronic disease. On April 4th, 2011, Nakikia was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, followed by a diagnosis with anxiety, panic attack disorder, ADD, and PTSD. She has since dedicated herself to raising awareness, providing education, advocacy, and supportive services to the community about multiple sclerosis, mental illness, and other chronic diseases. Nakikia is a member of nonprofit organization Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, the Greater Eastern North Carolina chapter of the National MS Society, the Community Healing Network, National Alliance on Mental Health, and the National Patient Advocate Association. She continues to serve her community as a mental health education and awareness advocate, dispelling stigmas surrounding mental illness. Please help me welcome our very own, my friend, my sister, Nakikia.
I appreciate you reading that and introducing me as such. It's been a journey, to say the least, and I'm continuing to go on this journey because the journey to healing is lifelong, and I'm very excited and very overwhelmed and just full of emotions about this whole turn of events. But I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the lessons and the struggles and the opportunities to grow from it. And I want to just say, and anyone who is going through the healing process should be proud of themselves for just making the choice to do so.
Right.
And so I'm just grateful for the growth. I'm grateful for the support of those who've been pushing me and encouraging me and lifting me up, and just continuing to give me the opportunity to share in my growth. And you're here to help educate and provide information to others as well. And so I'm grateful for you being here. We also have Shayna with us as well. And I want to go ahead and introduce the both of you as well. So Letitia introduced me. I'm going to introduce you to Letitia. She's minister, evangelist, honey, God-fearing, God-serving, honey. She's a warrior for the Most High, okay? She has given me many opportunities. She was one of the very first people to believe and see something that I didn't even see in myself. And she gave me the opportunity to speak on her platform. I remember it was 2014, and she hosted an event called Divas and Daughters, and it was a beautiful event. It was emotional. Y'all, I'm just a waterhead, period. So, but I got the chance to speak on her platform about forgiveness, because really healing is on the other side of forgiveness. And a lot of people, I'm hoping, will learn that even tonight. So let me introduce you to Letitia Nicole Beatty. She's a native of Detroit, Michigan, who now resides here in Durham, North Carolina. She's a certified life coach, motivational speaker, nursing home administrator, best-selling author of 5 books, and a nonprofit founder of Purpose Professionals.
Isn't it 7 now?
Is it 7?
It's 7. She made an announcement the other night. I was listening.
Well, we gonna have to update 7 books now. 7 books, honey. 7. She's an independent business owner, with her own vitamin and herbal tea company, level 2 marketing director in network marketing company, and CEO and founder of Letitia Nicole Enterprise LLC. Letitia established Speak Life Enterprises to serve women, girls who feel stuck in their lives because of fear, rejection, depression, mental illness, or post-traumatic syndrome. Known as the transformation evangelist, Letitia electrifies audiences throughout the world while delivering words of hope and encouragement. But most importantly, she is a child of the Almighty God and is on a mission to encourage and transform people out of dead situations with her Speak Life Enterprises. Letitia has been on stages across the country, inspiring audiences from all backgrounds. With a heart to serve, Tish is often called, received a Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing from Winston-Salem State University and a master's degree in business administration from the University of Phoenix. She is currently obtaining her doctoral degree in entrepreneurship. Letitia Nicole Beatty has earned countless awards for being a humanitarian, yes ma'am, and mentor, but her greatest accomplishments are her husband, Antonio Beatty, of nearly 21 years, and their two wonderful children, Antonio II and Aiden Cole. That is Letitia Nicole. Honey, all day, every day. And we also have her soror, honey, her AKA sister, also joining us tonight. And her name is Shayna. Dr. Shayna Williams. Let me make sure I let y'all know this is a doctor, okay? And I let me go back and pull because I want to make sure I get all her information correctly. So give me a second. Letitia, I thank you so much, for joining us tonight and being a part of what, we are doing. We are, of course, talking about breaking free from generations of toxic behavior. And it's time to have, it's just really time to have those conversations. And so I'm glad that both of you are here, and I am, going through trying to figure out why her bio disappeared on me, but I have it now. We have Dr. Shayna Williams here with us as well. Shayna Williams is a Charleston, South Carolina native and holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in biology from Morris College, a Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing, and a Master's degree in nursing psychiatric. She's a nurse practitioner and a doctorate. She now has a doctorate in nursing to practice from the medical university?
From the Medical University of South Carolina. It's a long name.
She has experience in teaching in behavioral health, plenty. In addition to the medical surgical area, she has experience in telemetry. Am I saying that right? I might be saying it as cardiac, psychiatric, emergency, and orthopedic nursing. Her teaching experience includes Durham Technical Community College and Watts School of Nursing, and has an assistant professor at. You were an assistant professor at Campbell University, Catherine Wood School of Nursing. Wow. She is currently a lead psychiatric nurse practitioner at Recovery Innovation International. She is serving as the champion for the alcohol withdrawal pathway for Duke Health Systems. Some of her experiences include organization of skills day and mock NCI drills for psychiatry at Duke Regional and Williams Board at Duke University Medical Center. And she also has worked on the work culture committee, the inpatient psychiatric instructor as an inpatient psychiatry instructor, a psychiatric certification class. Girl, all these big words got me tongue-tied.
I am so sorry.
I'm like, Miss Williams is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the American Nurses Association, and the American Psychiatric Nurses Association, and fellow of the Duke Johnson and Johnson Nurse Leadership Program. Honey, welcome. Thank you for joining and being a part of this this event as well. We have lots to discuss as far as how the history of toxic behaviors and attitudes, especially as it relates to the Black culture. We tend to do a lot of avoiding, denying, sweeping it under the carpet. It's like an unwritten rule that we have in our culture about speaking about, how we have to keep things on the hush hush. And it's had a very negative impact on how we function as a culture today. Those toxic behaviors and attitudes have been passed down from one generation to the next generation to the next generation, and unfortunately, it affects each generation in a different way. It affects our relationships. It affects how we relate to ourselves and how we relate to other people. It affects our overall well-being. And I know I have my own experiences, as probably so many of the people joining has, and we want to have some conversation about that. I talked to Letitia earlier about having an outline, but I'm getting this whole energy of we're not getting ready to go. We're not getting ready to do that. We're getting ready to have a real conversation about breaking free from generations of toxic behavior. And I want to give the floor to Letitia, because you, coming from a spiritual standpoint, what's your view coming from a spiritual standpoint as how trying to break free from those generations of toxic behavior?
Well, thank you for coming to me first. But I want to first just make people understand, just talking about generational curses or generational patterns, habits that we've gotten from generations before. Sometimes, Nikiki, I was thinking about how to make this so plain, because I don't want to start preaching. Okay. So I wanted to make it plain. So when we think about physical characteristics, of a parent that passed down to a child, right? Mm-hmm. You might see, my daddy's nose, and then you look at my nose, right? And you're like, that's his child, right? Or you look at my mama's smile and you see my smile and you be like, that's Nora's child, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Or the skin color that I have, these are physical traits right. of my ancestors, the way my jawbone is structured, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And these are all inherited by my family, my ancestors, mm-hmm. And certain talents that I have, or abilities or traits that I have. Bertie Kegler was my great aunt that the Ku Klux Klan beheaded and shot, wow. because she was out there trying to help women vote. She didn't care. She was out there, right? She didn't mm-hmm. have a fear. I got Reverend Garner, and I got all these traits of my family members, right? So I got another one for you, because I don't want, like I said, I'm trying not to sound like the preacher, but I can't help it. But you look just like your mama. You act just like your daddy. Mm. Come on. Can we talk about it?
Yep.
So these are all the time. Right. Influences from our generations, or okay, here we go, or curses into your life. My pastor does not like saying curses. She likes to say patterns. But it's understanding that in reality, it brings power to not change your future if you don't break it. But it also can bring some power, or not so much power, in your children and your children's children if you don't choose to break it. Right. And so I wanted to just say that first. And so I have to just do things the way I do things, Nikiki. I know. So curses is a bloodline. Oh God. Curses is a bloodline. So I talk about it from a spiritual place. Okay. And I wrote down some notes. Exodus 25-6. You can go ahead and read it for yourself. That God warned the children of Israel not to follow false gods, saying, "You shall not bow down to serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God." Now he was telling them that this iniquity, which is sin, is going to fall upon their children, and to the third generation and to the fourth generation of those who hate me. This is what he said. You can go read it for yourself. But showing mercy to the thousands to those who love me. He said, and keep my covenant and commandments. So here you even know in the Bible from Exodus 20 to 5-6 that God even warned us when we are not obedient, or when we have, sins, that if we don't correct them, that they're going to fall on generations. And this is what she asked me. So I'm going to stop there. So, and that's what I mean by generational patterns or generational curses, or and you might even have generational blessings, but whatever it is, it comes through a bloodline. And I'm gonna add this, and I'm gonna stop. And if it comes through a bloodline, it took blood to break it. The blood of Jesus. So go ahead.
God, I got you. And to piggyback off what, because she came from a spiritual sense, and she used spiritual examples. So if that is the case, what she said spiritually, imagine genetically the things, the behaviors, the attitudes, the viewpoints that we carry, or we display, and we influence our children, and then they influence their children. The behavior of avoiding getting help, ignoring certain toxic behavior, when you're displaying clear signs of a negative behavior, when you're acting out, and when you're not trying to figure out what's going on, when you are ignoring that there could be a possibility of having a mental or psychotic episode, and you ignore that in yourself, or you ignore that in your children, and no one is going to do anything about getting the healing that they need, because nobody is stepping up to the plate to do what they are supposed to be doing. And so we continue that same pattern from one generation to the next generation. And like she said, it stops. The blood has to stop it. That means if I have negative or toxic behaviors that my mom, my dad, my grandparents, or so on and so forth had, if I'm doing that, it's up to me to stop that. It's up to me to break that curse or generational pattern. It's up to me. And I saw a pattern. I saw it. I start seeing, it was one day, I'll give you an example, because I'm an emotional eater. That's a habit. That's a toxic habit. I was very overweight at the time, and my oldest daughter then was 3, and I'm in the kitchen, in the little pantry, trying to find me a snack, and she come get right between my legs, and she looked for a snack too. But we had just finished eating like breakfast maybe an hour prior to that. So why am I in the kitchen again? It was an emotional habit. I know that it was a negative habit that I knew I had, and I knew at that point that was me recognizing that I had to do something about that. Or I'm looking at my kid, she's getting ready to have the same bad habit if I don't nip it in the bud right now. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Shana, what's your, because both of you ladies are clinical. But I specifically wanted Letitia to come from a spiritual viewpoint, and I wanted you to come from the clinical viewpoint, because I work with you both differently in that aspect. Like I work with her mentoring and getting coaching and that type of thing, praying for me. And me and you have been doing like business stuff, like working in our group and stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to specifically use you in different ways. Although y'all both have the same or nearly the same credibility. So from a clinical standpoint, what's your perception?
So I'll actually approach it from two ways. I do want to piggyback on with Letitia's spiritual aspect, because when folks come to seek help, it's when the spiritual hasn't sustained them anymore. There is something that is disturbed in their spirit.
Mm.
And for a lot of people, they don't connect getting therapy as reconnecting to my spirit. Because there is a piece of you, as there are toxic behaviors and generational things that are enabled or accepted, then it becomes this norm to where, well, that's just who she is. That's just what she does. That's just what she says. She's always very negative. Wow. Versus really addressing, this is a toxic behavior. I need to change my mind, my heart, and my spirit about it. So I'll approach it from that aspect first. So part of what I think folks miss is that in breaking these generational patterns or habits, because I don't like to use the word curses either. I just think it's really maladaptive, and it keeps you in a mode of, I have this curse on me and I can't get it out. And that's not true. That's not true at all. Okay. So if people had a different vision of seeking therapy and looking at behavioral health as, I'm seeking to fix my spirit, I want to be different, I want to feel different, it would be different. And I'm not saying that behavioral health is always the answer, but there's a piece of you that needs to talk to somebody that is not family related. There is somebody that you need that is objective, that can say to you, either this is a toxic behavior that you've learned or picked up or have sustained, and do you want to break that? Or are you missing something in your spirit that you want to have restored? So you can approach it from two ways, because I mean, for me, I grew up in the church. So sorry
about that. Go ahead.
For my mom, it was, and she's a God-fearing woman, but she was like, I don't see how you have a job talking to people. They just prayed and trust God, things will work. I said, Mom, but there's times where people have prayed and trust God and they still trust God, but they need somebody to tell them, this is how you feel. It's okay. Let's work on it. And it's not always about a pill. It's not always about a pill. Majority of the time, the pills for me and my beliefs of why I got into the field, the pill enhances you to actually start to feel some things and actually talk about it. Where people miss the rest of it is that there are certain behavioral health illnesses where it's all about what's in your heart, what has disturbed your spirit. Mm-hmm. And if you don't talk about that, I can give you a pill all day and you still won't feel any better. It still won't change the fact that you felt rejected by your mom because she worked too much, or she was always out doing these different things and you didn't understand why she was out doing those things. Mm-hmm. Whereas your mom may have seen it as, I'm building a life for my kids. I want my generation to be different. I want my kids to be able to have access to more. And, you know, so from my aspect in breaking those generational patterns and habits, it has to be something that you want to do. It has to be something that you want to confront, because once we start peeling back that onion, once we start peeling back all that stuff that is toxic, that you may not even see as toxic. Because I mean, there's times where somebody say, well, that's your mama. She's just that way. That doesn't make it okay.
Right.
So it's more to it clinically than I think people often recognize.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll stop there.
Well, and thank you for sharing that, because you own the money on so many levels. It's about, people have to make the choice. It starts with choice. And sometimes sometimes it can be a difficult thing to do, is to make the choice to do and be different. Because once you make that choice, the other part of that is the hard work that you have to put in, the things that you're going to have to face, going on this healing journey. There are going to be people who will become uncomfortable around your going through this healing, and they're going to back away, and you're going to feel a sense of loneliness. And a lot of times loneliness is one of those emotional insecurities that people often have anyway. So it is, difficult to make those choices, but it has to be made in order for you to start your healing and to end those generational patterns that have negatively affected you, and possibly starting to negatively affect your children. I look at myself, and I'm trying to make sure I am spending enough quality time with my kids, like allowing them to speak about how they are feeling emotionally, if they're feeling some type of anxiety, or if they're feeling some emotional insecurity that we need to discuss. I'm doing that different, because that was not a part of my upbringing. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Now, my father was he raised me and my brother. It was still a toxic environment. He was a functioning alcoholic. However, I had clothes, I had food, I had shelter. When I turned, I got pretty much the things that I got all the things I needed, and some of the things that I wanted. But what I wanted most was for him to be more emotionally available for me, but he wasn't. And what I learned in my growing and healing is that he didn't have the capacity to receive all the emotional person I was as his child. And nor was he equipped to handle such an emotional child. I'm a Pisces, I'm a February baby. I cried at the drop of a hat. I'm just an emotional person. I used to feel bad about that. I don't anymore. It is who I am, and I'm proud that I can share my emotions. But now I know how to do that in a healthy way. It used to be very negative. I get mad quickly, get angry quickly. I'll be wanting to kill your car or put sugar in your tank, or be ready to fight at any given moment. But thank God for healing, Jesus. So I don't have to. I'm now able. I'm self-aware, and I know how to control, my emotions pretty much. And I'm teaching my children that. I see that we have a few other people on. I see.
She done took her own self out of here.
Sure did. Well, while she's coming back, I did want to touch on something I think too that we also have to understand about generational things is being willing to share our own background. There's a lot of times where I meet folks, they're like, I don't want to talk about the past, but it's really your childhood that affects your teenage years, that affects your adulthood. And I think that is a piece that a lot of people miss, because it's like, oh, well, I grew up. And it's like, yeah, you did. But something still happened to where now you're still feeling some type of way about it. And I'm sure you can attest to that too, Letitia, about the as far as like the spiritual aspect for folks.
Absolutely. There she goes. I thought you were about to call on one of the ladies that Miss Karen and Miss Kathy.
Unmuted. Welcome to tonight.
My name is Karen O'Neill, and I live in Indiana. Hello, near Cincinnati.
Okay.
And I am almost about ready to go into tears because I am all about working with the Lord to break generational issues. I also grew up in a family where there was alcoholism and abuse. And my best girlfriend reminds me from time to time in 1991, I said, Joyce, I'm responsible for me, and I'm no longer going to hold on to the past. I'm going to overcome, and I'm going to be a better person. And it's taken it's taken 30 years. And I am the person in my family that talks about the issues, because it is talking about the issues and overcoming to where, so that you can hear other perspectives, because sometimes what you believe or have internalized is not true, or just maybe sometimes blown out of proportion. I don't want to try to minimize an issue, but sometimes we need help to take a look at some different perspectives. And that is what reading the Bible has helped me a lot with. But before the Bible, I was in yoga classes, I was in spiritual classes, and then I was in 12-step groups. And from all of that, I ended up serving the Lord, being saved for about 35 years, and just selling out about 20 years ago, 22, 23 years ago. And I've been at it ever since. But yes, those are the things that I hone in on for our Black community. If we could, we can't change people and make them treat us well. So we have to know how to treat ourselves well, and to recognize some of the pitfalls that the enemy or that are set up for us, and not to fall into those traps. And so I'm all about the Black community overcoming and taking responsibility. And of course, there are some real issues out there. Don't get me wrong, because look at my color, you know. So there are things out there, but it's good if we know how to maneuver through those while our culture as a whole overcomes. And I'll stop right there.
Well, I appreciate you adding to the event and sharing your experience. I know that there has to be God has always has to be in it. He's always in the process of your healing, and it's with Him that you can get through the healing. Now, I realize, I know we have people from different backgrounds, and not trying to be offensive to anyone by talking about religion or anything like that. However, we're just sharing our experience and what it looks like and what it is for us. I see we have. I definitely. Hi, I'm. If you can unmute yourself, let me see if I can unmute Mr. Bernard B. And listen, I'm excited, one, because the man, honey, can share his perspective of breaking free from generations of toxic behavior. We would love to hear your perspective.
Hello, everyone. I don't know, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. It has definitely been an experience. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And it's just one of those things where you kind of deal with life and you try to get over your issues and generational curses. You make notice of it and you don't try to hold it against anyone. So, it's a struggle, even for myself.
Okay. So what types of, if you can give some examples of some things that you might be currently dealing with or having some struggle with, especially as a Black man in today's society, and how that adds to the struggle.
Let's see. Well, from one, what I gather is that my father, he was actually on I guess drugs really bad, and I'm on public transportation right now, so I can't really speak how I want to speak.
Okay.
But for the most part, he dealt with that, and also he was institutionalized, and it was like kind of hard. He wasn't in my life, and so I, look at my grandfather, my uncle, just for perspective and understanding and direction. So just seeing the state of where we are now is definitely hard.
Okay. And I appreciate you sharing, taking a moment to share your experience and your perspective. I appreciate that. I see Miss Renee Parker. Would you like to share? I'm going to unmute you so you can share as well. Thank you, Mr. Bernard B.
You're welcome.
Welcome, Renee Parker. How are you?
Hello. How's everyone?
Doing well. So, can you share with us your perspective, your experiences with trying to break free from generations of toxic behavior?
Yes, I can definitely identify with that. Having a mother that was paranoid schizophrenic, dealing with PTSD and anxiety and depression, having my life affected at a young age, dealing with childhood trauma, dealing with my own issues, um, as as a Black female, um, with a disease called congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Don't know if the doctor understand that. It's a very rare disease. It has to do with hormones. So I have more testosterone in my body than the average man, and it's deep, and I've had to deal with it, not being able to identify with the masculine or the feminist, women or men, just being caught in between, trying to find my own identity.
Wow.
Yes, so it's been a very difficult situation, but I believe in God, and I trust that he does have a plan for my life.
That's awesome. And I appreciate you sharing. That was, very that's deep. And I can only imagine.
I know it's deep.
It's I can only imagine. And this just goes to show how important it is for us to have these conversations, because we don't know what people are going through mentally and emotionally, and people are suffering in silence, and it doesn't have to be that way. And I do realize that it's difficult to share things like this, and we do have to really be careful who we share our mental and emotional vulnerabilities with. We do have to be careful of that. Who we share those things with. But I do appreciate you being here and sharing your perspective and your experiences. So hang tight, and we might come back to you. And if you have something you want to say, just thumbs up, and I'll bring you back on so you can share your experience or your perspectives. So it's I'm excited because it's hard for us to get our men to speak up. So you pretty much made my night, Mr. Bernard, like for real. You pretty much made my night. So, because that's one of my goals, is to have more men come out and share their experiences dealing with mental and emotional health and wellness. I want to go back to Letitia, because, honey, I felt like you had so much more that you can share, especially to help people get started from a spiritual standpoint, to start their healing and identifying those negative. And that's one of the things we have to do, is we got to identify those things and get started with healing from that. And from a a spiritual perspective, what would you offer?
Well, first of all, I want to say this because, like you said, we need to identify as well. But by no means are we saying just go pray about it. I believe the Lord allowed doctors to have and pharmacists to have the know-how. I believe He gave them those gifts. So don't just say pray about it. And that's why it's about, I think it was 27%. And I have to look it up again. It was of pastors killing themselves, committing suicide for not right. So I'm putting that out there right now, because by no means, as I know we're all from different spaces and different places, but we all been there. We all sin and come short of the glory, and it's that iniquity that came from our fathers, our forefathers, our generations that was before us. That's why we are here now talking about this. And what iniquity is. And the reason why I said the word iniquity, because we have to understand the word of God, that iniquity came through the parents, which carried into the children, and then third generation, the fourth generation. That's what I just read to you guys. So we gonna identify some of them, and then we're gonna talk about how to get over them. I'm gonna answer your question. I write this down because I like to teach this so you can read and study and show yourself approved, right? So you can get it for yourself. Lamentation 5:7. Lamentation 5:7. And these are certain sinful habits, okay? Because it was those certain sinful habits that your ancestors had that passed down to you, and this is why. The word of God says, our fathers sinned and no more, but we bear their iniquities. Our fathers sin and they're no more. That means they're dead and gone, right? But we bear their iniquities. In other words, they are dead and gone, but their iniquity is sticking with us. Y'all get that?
Yep.
And so this is the evidence of the curses, okay? Or the patterns, or the habits. However you receive it, it is
patterns, habits,
right?
yep.
So this is the evidence, and it was written in Deuteronomy 28:15-68. You can go and read it yourself, because it's 53 verses that's listing generational curses. You go get it for yourself. I'm not going to read them all. And again, that was Deuteronomy 28:15-68. Now, one is poverty. Another one is inherited diseases. Another one is divorce, child abuse, sexual abuse, domestic violence, alcoholism, drug addiction, adultery, perversion, depression, confusion, fear, indecisiveness. Come on, I need y'all to hear that. Panic attacks, mental illness, suicide, destructive attitudes and behaviors, immorality. These are all things. And it's more. You go read it for yourself, so you can get it for yourself. But these are all things that are evidences of curses. Okay, and each of these can be broken. Y'all just forgive me. Each of these can be broken. All right. But you got to get down to the root in the idolatry and iniquity. You got to find out where that root is, because how do you take something out of your yard so it don't grow back? You get all the way down to the root. Okay. And the good news is, and I kind of spilled the beans earlier, but I couldn't help it but to tell you that this is my belief. The good news is that generational curses can be stopped by the blood of Jesus. Why did I say that? Hebrew 9:22 tells us. Now, this is my belief. This is what helps me, right? According to the law, almost all things are purified with the blood, and without the shedding of the blood, there is no remission. Whew. So the curses came through the blood. The habits came through the blood. and the curses can be canceled by the blood.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I just wanted to put that out there because it's just so important for us to understand that these can't. That's why I understand we don't like to say curses. We like to say patterns or habit, but understand no matter what it is, God said it can be canceled.
Mm-hmm.
It can be canceled, and that's my belief. That I believe it can be. I'd rather believe that it can be canceled, and that I've been bought with a price, and I can just make the choice. I understand. Make the choice. I understand that it was alcoholism there. I understand that it's been some abuse. I understand. I just talk about myself. Let me just talk about myself. That has been some childhood molestation, rape, right? It's been some mental illness, some post-traumatic stress.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's come on, I can just tell the truth. It's been some times that I didn't understand why I was reacting the way I did, but then I understand that it was a line of generations that they said, "Now your grandma, no, your grandpa." People were so he was so mean. They were scared to ride her down the street. Now he'll just shoot you. Now your grandma. Now that thing was mean. That thing. And then I have in 2016 or 17 or 16. I had a Speak Life event in Detroit, Michigan, and my matriarch, my great aunt came, and I gave her the mic. And why did I do that? With hundreds of people, she said, "Oh, I know your grandma proud of you because you was a rough cat. You was rough, right?" and she talked about how rough I was, but look at me now. But guess what? It was a generational. I wasn't the only rough one. Come on here, somebody. I wasn't rough. They've been rough,
Right.
right? So, but it was a generational. When you look at the patterns and you look at the iniquities, and even when you look at your family, your generations, and you can see some traits in yourself. And you just have to make the choice to say, I don't want my children and my children's children. I don't want that third and fourth generation. The buck stops here. The pattern stops here. The habit stop here. A habit of anger issues. So I can raise my hand. I can raise my hand. I had to get my anger under control. And so no more stabbing folks and running over folks for you, Letitia. If the buck stops here, no, you ain't gonna do that no more. You know, I had to get Letitia together, right? And because how can I talk about somebody else when I'm doing the same thing, or how can I help them when I couldn't even help myself? So the first ministry, the first person that I had to coach, the person that had to go through the modules was myself, right? I can't go back in time. I can start now. And I thank God for the blood of the Lamb. I thank God for Jesus. Right? I see Miss Karen down there just rocking. I see you, Miss Karen, because she understands. Yes, ma'am.
I think that it's also great that you pointed out that there are also instances where the blood can help you, but he also provides for people. Because what I think that some people also miss is that there are some behavioral health illnesses that you do need help with, and the Lord does provide. And I think I remember the story where there's a fisherman and he's stranded. He says, "Jesus, send such and such and such to help me." And he sends the person. He goes, no. God's going to save me. God's going to save me. He sends the second person, and y'all help me if I'm telling it wrong. And he says, no. I don't need your help. God's going to save me. He sends, I don't remember if it's a third person or not, but I just know he got about 2 or 3 chances before he saw Jesus himself. And Jesus said, I sent this person, and this person to help you. So I think I also need for folks to understand that there are times where there are mental health issues, behavioral health issues that you need help with, and God does provide those things.
Amen. Yes, he does.
Go ahead, Miss. Look like Miss Karen. Go ahead. You raise your hand. Go ahead, honey.
Dr. Williams, you're absolutely right. My mother had us in counseling sessions off and on for years when we were younger. And I went that route for many years. And then right after that, that's when the 12-step programs came into play. And then by that time, I started using the spiritual resources to get the help I need. I do have accountability partners that are seasoned in their fields of study, or they're seasoned in the Bible as well. But absolutely, I do go to the clinical help if needed, and have no problem with that, and would recommend it if that is the route that it will take for someone to get well.
And you also have to be able to connect to that person. So I know that some people go, oh, well, I went to this person, and this therapy just doesn't work for me. No. This is why I got into the field. I was brutally raped. I had a son. He is the most wonderful thing to me. He is 22. But at the same time, I ran into people who couldn't identify. Like one therapist said to me, oh, well, understand that, you grew up in the hood. Da, da, da. Lady, I don't know nothing about the hood. I grew up in the suburbs, ma'am. Next therapist.
You got to find
so I think it's important to also point out that you have to be able to identify with that particular therapist as well. Because in order for therapy to work, and for some people, it's like that person has to look like me. So be it.
And we have to, and speaking of that, we have to be careful when we say, because I'm learning that now myself, because I'm an advocate of going to a therapist who does look like me. However, they have to have that cultural understanding as well. They might look like you, but they weren't raised by.
Say that one more time, please. Say that one more time, please.
So I'm an advocate of going to a therapist who looks like me, or a counselor who looks like me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm careful, because although they look like me, they still do not possess the cultural understanding that of Black people, because they weren't raised in the culture. A lot of us were adopted, and we were adopted by different cultures. And unfortunately, a lot of us were not given the opportunity, or maybe they didn't know how. They weren't didn't have access to their culture. So there's a lot of Black men and women that could be, therapists, but they don't have the cultural understanding. So you have to be careful of that as well.
And your therapist should not be making cultural assumptions as well.
That part.
I wanted to add that you want to also develop trust. I mean, you can look like me, you can have my background, but if I don't trust you, I ain't gonna tell you nothing. And right, it's just that's developing trust and allowing a person to go through the process, because traumatic experiences, they have long lasting effects on people. Mm-hmm. And a therapist also has to ensure that they're giving a person time to, develop the trust and be willing to come out and tell them what they're going through. It can take years. We should never think that somebody can go through therapy and just they go through therapy yesterday, they okay today. You talking to somebody, better, and I also wanted to add this, because I've seen it. I've helped some people actually, even in court, when they're diagnosed with a wrong diagnosis, mm-hmm. or a right diagnosis with the wrong drug. Ooh. Okay. Because we also have to understand that if we're taking medication, we have to ensure that medication is right for us. You cannot give somebody that's manic trazodone. Okay, because right, that's somebody that's, because whatever it is, right.
Sorry.
Right, they're gonna right. And if you get somebody that's boop, 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 already, and give them that. I'm just saying, I'm a nurse. I'm sorry. I've been a psych nurse. I've
No,
been
it happens. It happens.
It happens. And so I've been at the other side where I've had to help someone not go to jail because they were charged after shooting up somebody's house, but they were on the wrong medication. It's like, how could you? So we have to ensure that we have an open mind and understand that people aren't this way because they want to be. It's been something that's traumatic that happened to them, and we have to give people time to heal.
Right. And I think also too, a lot of research has not shown, but I have actually seen a lot of people with post-traumatic stress disorder look manic, look psychotic when they actually were depressed or triggered into either that psychosis or what looks like mania, which is actually a trigger, or that angry, irritable anxiety. So it's really being able to, you want someone that is going to get to know the whole you. You want someone that is going to get to know you as a person. That way you can trust them to be open and honest about what truly is bothering you. You can't be open with somebody, just like she said, I have trust issues too. It's like, I don't really know you like that to share such and such and such. It's taken me a while to even get to the point to where, Nikki's like, Shani, you have to share your story. You're a clinician and you have, this background, but you also have the experience. And it's like, like she couldn't have got me on this podcast probably 2 years ago. But the thing is that you have to be able to recognize what things truly are, be able to open to actually trust somebody. We trust God, and we have to know that God provides people so that we can trust them. Just like Minister Letitia, like I'm gonna call her after this is over. I'm like, oh, I need this. This is somebody else for me to connect to. This is somebody else for me to, understand and even become a better clinician. Most people are like, oh wow, like, but no, you have to get to know people. You have to be able to be open to really breaking those patterns. Like, I don't know. We all probably have this pattern. What happens in our house stays in our house.
A lot of us grew up with that sentiment. Take what happens in this house outside these doors, even if it's violent behavior, even if it's abusive behavior. Like we've been taught to, suck it up and deal with it. And unfortunately, that has been it's been horrible, and it's just had very negative effects on our lives as a whole. Holding all that, which is probably why I don't mind being so emotional now. I don't care what people think about me being emotional and about me crying, because at one point I was told that you're always crying and you need to stop crying, and so I tried to do that, and the more I did do that, the angrier I became, the more pissed off I would become, the more I acted out in just rage. Like, even in my teenage years and in college, just being, it's like punch first, ask question later.
And that's also where some of those wrong diagnoses come from, because all they see is anger. We can't dig down to the level of where, she was told to stop expressing herself. She was told, stop that crying. She turned inward. That inwardness that she's now not dealing with, she is now angry, she's irritable, she's this, she's that. And before you know it, they start going down the list of things where she's irritable, anxious, and before she know it, she bipolar.
I had a doctor to tell me I went, and now I used to say I'm ADD or ADHD. We all, with me and Nikki, we joke about it, because a fly could go. I'd be like, I'll be forgetting that I'm here. Okay, so but Right. So I'm just telling you the truth. Some can go, I'm like, just, so, but I had a doctor. I have been telling them all these years, like, listen, I need help. I need help. I need help concentrating. I need help. I'm not reading and comprehending, or I'm not, I need help. So finally, about 2 years ago, they had me do adult, it had to be ADD test. He said, y'all ready?
Girl, don't stop. You already gonna make me laugh. I'm trying.
He said, he said, you are severely. And I mean, like, that was gonna make me feel better. He said, you are severely. Like when I took my, and right. And I'm like, okay, I've been trying to tell people that all. I mean, I'm one that I'm come from the corporate world, even though I'm an entrepreneur now. And I used to always be on the phone in my meetings and looking out the window. And I've been this way for a long time. And so I've been trying to tell people I need some help. He said, you are severely. But then guess what, y'all? I took the medication and I end up I can't take the medication. The way I function, it helped me read. I got through that. So it must have helped me a minute for something, because now I can read and comprehend, but I don't have to take the medication. But guess what? It made me slow. And it made me so slow that I couldn't do the things that I needed to do, because I multitask very well. So actually that
you already had the coping.
I already coped with it. So I have multiple businesses. I do all these things. People like, how should you do all that? I didn't want to just say because I'm ADD and it works for me. But right. And so and some things that we know that we go through, and so we can tell the doctors, but when he told me I was severely, it was just like, oh, cut it out. Because severely is not even, you know what? That's not even a diagnosis. It's either you're ADD or you're not.
Severely.
So that's
not even billable.
It's not even billable. Don't even put that. Don't try to put that or code it or nothing. Get nothing extra for that. So I literally, it also is accepting, and I love this. Nikiki, you did this. This is what helped you, and a lot of my clients like you. It's the acceptance. It's acceptance of knowing who you are, right? And stop hiding and feeling bad about what you've gone through. And right, that's the first thing. It's almost that, because first you be in denial. What is it? What is it? The stages of denial?
Yes.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, it's the stages of denial. And I watched that in a lot of my clients, and I'm just like, I know where this person is. I know what they're thinking. I know what they're thinking right now. And no matter what I say, if they're in denial, first it's going to be anger. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm going to be an enemy. They don't want to hear me. I'm tripping. I'm the enemy. They're gonna anoint my head with oil. Okay, I'm tripping. And then it's bargaining, right? Bargaining, and they can come in different phases, right? And then it's depression. Now it's depression, and I notice, and don't get mad at me when I say it, because sometimes depression can bring on pity. They plan the pity. You see what you did to me. You see, you didn't did it to me. And then after they go through all the these different stages, then it's acceptance. You know what? I'm going to deal with this head on. Yeah, I may have had this issue, but I don't have to accept this issue. So I'm going to deal with this. And I'm accepting the fact that I may have some toxic behavior, that everybody is not always everybody else. I just might be the stank in the room. I might be the toxic.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
And then, guys, we have a comment at the bottom.
Yes.
About as far as an educator, she said, can you talk more about how better to serve K through 12 students who are not spiritual and parents don't believe in clinical help?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Ooh,
Ooh,
we
that's
all could talk from this one. Nikki, do you want to start? Because I mean, I have my own
I'm go
experience
ahead.
with
Because
it.
I actually I'm up here trying to find the questions and I
Okay.
didn't see that. So
I
you
can pop in there too if you would like when you
Yes,
ladies are
ma'am.
done, because
Yes,
I
ma'am.
actually work in it.
Oh, go ahead. I want to hear this.
Okay, well, no, actually, we want to hear yours first.
Go ahead, Miss Karen.
Okay, and you guys can clean it up. Okay.
Okay.
I work 9 through 12. I was at one time a professor in a college, part-time professor, but now I'm an administrator in 9 through 12. And we have plenty of students who are on medication, who are not spiritual, and parents who don't help take care of their student, of their child, because of working or whatever other dynamic is going on in their household. So as an educator, administrator, now I'm not a teacher, I'm an administrator on the college side. I'm not going to go into all of that detail. But as an educator, I still have to be aware on how to interact with the students because I'm in their environment. So for me, I have to be aware of the laws on what I can say or not say to the students. I have to treat them with respect, like they are people and that they are not subpar human beings. If that means that I need to take some type of training course or get on the internet and ask, how can I better assist my students, then I do that. I will talk with other people on the K-12 side K-12 side or 9 through 12 side who can help me with these things. But I listen to, I will find out the laws, what I can say or not say.
Mm-hmm.
I try to have a balanced way of handling my students and try not to judge them. And when I don't know questions or answers to certain things, I refer them to the resident counselor. Now, one thing that is very important, and I'll stop right here, is to be a good listener so that you can know which way to funnel those students and parents.
Mm-hmm.
So, a good thing too is with children concerning, or all children, even teenagers, time and listening is very important because once you engage them to address whatever behaviors are occurring, please know that it will take time and it also takes a lot of listening. Don't BS the kids because the kids know when you lying. The teenagers know when you lying. They know when you BSing them. They know when you either care or you don't care. So that is first and foremost in the front. The second piece is speaking as a parent. I'll speak as a parent first and as a clinician. As a parent, I will say that my child had a very traumatic kindergarten year. And it was because he is a very different type of kid. Sorry if I sound choppy. I'll see if I can fix that. But he's a different type of kid. And the teacher that he had, it was more about his behavior versus understanding that, sorry, my kid was advanced. He's in kindergarten. He already knew his colors. He already knew how to count. He went to he went to La Petite and they taught those things there. So by the time he got to kindergarten and he was enmeshed with the other children, it was kind of like, okay, I know my colors. I know how to count to a certain thing. I'm bored, so I'm gonna go do this over here. So versus engaging and listening to him, it was he's antisocial. He is a behavior problem. He needs to be on medicines. What she forgot was that she was talking to a clinician. I don't go for that first and foremost. So that is part of the issue, is that it could have been a different conversation with a parent. There are some parents that are just not going to budge. So there's a piece of you as an educator that may have, and my mom was a former educator. So there was a piece of her that had to engage with that child and figure out ways to connect with them. He got that in first grade. In first grade, it was a totally different school, totally different approach to him. And she was like, hey, since you can't really express certain things, do you want to write about it? Gave him his own journal with his name on it.
Mm-hmm.
Brother started writing and telling us stuff that we never knew happened in kindergarten, for one. But he also started talking about how he felt, or how, for instance, in certain times in school, when some of these behaviors would happen, he doesn't like loud noises. So wait a minute. So the fire drill went off, and what happened? Well, mommy, the fire drill went off, and I got really nervous, and then I got scared, and so-and-so got too close to me, so I hit him. Oh. So then the teacher says, well, Shay, why don't we try wearing noise-canceling headphones? Why don't we try preparing him for when certain drills are going to happen if we know?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I try, if he's distracted by certain things, or if he's already caught onto a concept, can I give him extra stuff to do? Can I make him my helper? So there's different practical things that can be put into place, because as the clinician, I'm going to ask what is happening in school first before I even go to, oh, well, we definitely need medicine. Mm-hmm. What's going on in school first? What's been put in place first? Because I've had parents come and ask me to give their kids some Zyprexa, which is an antipsychotic, to keep their kid from throwing their chicken over the balcony. He threw chicken over the balcony. I need you to give him a pill so he can stop throwing. No, whoa. Okay, somebody said they couldn't hear. I'm sorry.
Who is that?
Can you hear me now?
It may be their internet.
Yeah.
Because we're hearing you on this side.
Okay. But it may be about having things in place in the home, having things in place at school. And for some parents, honestly, they just not going to hear you. So it just may be some things that you're going to have to put in place in school. Because that parent was mad at me. She was like, so I'm not getting a pill for him, like not listening to me. I said, well, who said he had to eat chicken? If he wanted to throw the chicken over the balcony, give him peanut butter and jelly. You just have to feed him.
Something else.
Oh, that's funny.
Something different.
Dr. Williams,
Mm-hmm.
I concur. I had a couple of students who were negative behavior. And so we made her like an office assistant to, I run a couple of programs. We made her an office assistant, and she trimmed back, became one of the most studious students in her grade. We do have a gifted student he's very, very brilliant. And so there are different things that are being done with him because he feels out of place, given that he's exceptional. So yes, some of the things that you're talking about, very practical, and we have put some of those in place. It's true.
And then the last thing, and then I'll stop, is also understand some of this is learned behavior. So if I know to respond to something with an angry tone, that's how I'm going to respond. If at home I see certain things that may be happening, or not even at home, maybe certain environments that they're exposed to, I see certain things happening, that's a learned response. I don't have anybody to tell me that response is not correct.
Right.
And it's even for my mom in education, she would go to some parents and be like, hey, look, their behavior is a little bit different. Can we sit down? I don't have time to sit down and talk to you about none of this stuff. Why don't you just suggest some medicines, or we do it like some sort of plan or something? So it's understanding what, and versus myself, I'm an opposite type of parent. I do want you to call me, because if I have to come out of a patient session to come and address my kid, I will. And he knows that. Because he'll be like, Mommy, I didn't do nothing. I didn't touch nothing. I didn't breathe the wrong way. And you would think that I am like the most forceful parent ever. But at the same time, he knows that there are certain things that he is not supposed to be doing. Some of these kids honestly really don't know. Mm-hmm. So, and some of them have
more involved. Like you said, the parent, I don't have time. I don't, I got other stuff to do, and that may be true. That parent may be under pressure or whatever. But in the same token, as a parent, we have to be intentional about paying attention to our children's behaviors. We got to be intentional more so about how we behave in front of our children. So even with my kids, now my kids, they already know. They already know. Okay. However,
that is a true statement.
Attention to their feelings and what I'm looking at negative behaviors, and I'm inquiring about those. I'm not ignoring them. Like I mentioned in a few weeks ago about having to go handle those 3 when they were with their dad, and when he gets in a tizzy, because he's the calm parent. So when he get in the tizzy, I know, I was like, wait a minute, you in a tizzy? Oh, yeah, okay, I got to dry the cream more. All right, I'll be down there in a little while. So when I get there, we're having a conversation. Nobody's yelling. I'm not, getting the belt like I really want to do. But I'm like, okay, it might be more to there might be an underlying issue. Let's talk about it. And that's what we did. But we have to be intentional about how we behave and how we respond to our children when they are not behaving the way that they should be, or if they're having an issue. We got to be able to respond accordingly and in the right way, so that they can see, oh, okay, I am being supported. It's okay to have negative feelings, but it's not okay to react negatively when you do have negative feelings or stuff like that. We have to be careful how we act as well.
Ladies, can I hone in?
Yes.
Okay, so I've been listening very patiently. I'm glad to hear what everybody's saying. And here's what I want to contribute. When you started out talking about therapist, I heard you say the cultural thing, but I'd like to frame it with a different term.
Okay.
I'd like to call it value system, because I'm dealing with a family member who is in therapy, has a person that looks like them, but they have nowhere near the same value system. And then I've listened to the other dialogue about the interacting with students in an educational setting and the parent. And here's one thing that I feel lucky to be able to wear a hat for. I've been in schools, and the one thing that I started doing that served me well is I started out in an alternative school. And the first week, I started doing this for the first week that turned into about 3 months. I was saying to the students, I know you didn't mean to disrespect me, so I'm going to help you rephrase what you just said, so when you go back to your home school, your teacher won't feel disrespected. So that is key. We have to figure out how to communicate, because everybody's household does not look the same. And they go into a different environment where the expectations are there, but the patience is not. The willingness to drill with that child what appropriate looks like. I grew up in a situation where my parents weren't all that vocal people, but they were very capable of sending messages about what was important in our family. Mm-hmm. And my parents never said, you've got to go to college to any of us. But we had the expectation that you're going to do your best at whatever it is that you do. Right. So so my question to you ladies, and I thank you for this forum. I was a little hesitant coming in here. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to get and all that. So I sat back and observed, because that's my personality. So what I'd like to have some help with is, how do we provide a space where we can provide the resources, these basic tools to help us to have better relationships. Because I believe that's what it is. And I don't mean intimate relationships right now, but I want to talk about that too. I mean just the way that people relate to other people. That is nothing but trust. We have a society where trust is almost gone out the window. And it's hard for little kids to trust grown-ups because there are some grown-ups who are not trustworthy. And then we send these messages of safety that we try to send, and and all that stuff. But I look at the church, and I was saying, I had this little core group of women that I had met when I started going to this church, and turns out now this 10 years later, and I was saying to them, there are women in the church dying. And I'm going to tell you why I said it that way. My own personal relationship. I was in a relationship, and in my head, I'm thinking, okay, just stay with the devil that you know. But the problem with that is, for me, is that if somebody's not beating you, punching you, throwing you out, if they're not that dramatic in their interactions, people don't think they're bad people. Because I had the subtleties, and I was at this women's forum, and I was listening to these young ladies talk, and the lady who was presenting was talked about how her husband used to beat her up and punch her in the stomach when she was pregnant and throw her out every other day and wouldn't allow her to go to work. She had tell him when she's leaving the desk to come home, and he clocking how long it's going to take her to drive there, and she get punched if she 2 minutes late. That kind of stuff. And I'm like, no. I didn't have that kind of situation, but I was mentally abused because I had somebody who was stealing from me by writing a check without the checkbook, but it's still the same thing. It's abuse. And we have to understand these subtleties about this so that we can't not put a name on it. It's like, it's not bad, and we have too many young people who think an intimate relationship looks like that. So how do we find a space to communicate the values and the trust? How do we get the trust back? Thank you.
I appreciate you and your question. And it's there a few things that you can do. And that's part of what Shayna and I do every Sunday is you find you an emotional support system, a healthy emotional support system. A lot of us in the group have different situations that we've gone through, but the commonality is that we're all trying to heal mentally and emotionally from these things. But that's one thing. Shayna, do you and Letitia, do you have some other input as well? I want to.
I do. I actually do. I'm a minister over the women's ministry at our church, and for one, I understand what Nikiki is saying, finding a space, but you also have to be willing to make a space, because not everybody is going to feel comfortable in every space,
right?
Even this space here. So as a minister of the women's ministry of ULCC, I tend to because I'm not your normal, or what they call minister. I'm an evangelist. So I go lots of different places, and I can blend in a lot of places. The people might not say, well, her hair too long, or her nails too long. Little Miss Carrie laughing at me. And so I make them comfortable that they can talk about whatever. I have Zooms where the women can talk about whatever. And one thing, when people see your own vulnerability, and they're willing to share, because I don't have nothing to hide. As Nikiki stated, I have 7 books. I write about it. If it happened, but it took me a long time to get there. Okay. And so I don't never expect people to just come out in that space. I keep that space going. I keep meetings going. And people, I had a lady to come. I've had a prayer line for 7.5 years, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. I had a lady to sit on my line for 2 years and not say nothing. But one day I heard this little voice, hello. And I was like, I know this number been here. Who is this? And she let me know she had been there for 2 years, and she finally started talking 2 years later. And we have to be willing to allow the process to go.
Yes.
Open the group, be the change that you want to see, and make the group yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 2 cents.
That's what I say. It's a lot of different ways. If you feel like you need, and it depending on what it is you really want from it or how you want the approach to be. Like Letitia says, she has her group through her church. She also has her prayer line Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Shana and I conduct an emotional support group each week on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we do it through Duo, Google Duo. We'll probably be looking at doing it through some other platforms so we can make sure we can have room for others who want to join in. But you have to connect yourself with people who are like-minded, who are ready to make the choice to start their healing and go on that journey and trust the process. Again, like Letitia said, you can start your own emotional support group if you want to, for you and for other people that you may know who are looking for the healing that they need. That's in your area. You can do that as well. So it's a lot of things that can be, done. There's no one way that it has to be done. And each platform may be conducted differently. I know for me, my platform, you can join the group on Facebook. It's called Start Speaking, Stop Stigma. It is a platform area where I created, me and my son started that, to allow people to come in and share their vulnerabilities with the group without being judged or having the fear of being ridiculed. There is an emotional and mentally safe space. I monitor it thoroughly, and I make sure that people have to answer questions before they are able to join the group. If you don't answer the questions, you can't get in the group because then you're not agreeing to the group rules and regulations. If I see something that does not fit with what the group is about, you're out of there. And I don't ask no questions. You're just out. Because my goal is to make sure that space stays safe and it stays secure for people to come in and share. Because my goal is to get more and more people to speak about what's going on with them mentally and emotionally. It's time out for us to be sitting in silence. It's time out for that. We need to heal mind, body, and spirit. Like Letitia's prayer line, you can get information from her about that. We'll post some information. Matter of fact, y'all can start posting your information in the group for people to connect with you with. Shana, do you want to add something, hon?
I mean, just speaking from personal experience, I think it's important for children to have a safe space. Like if they have somebody that they connect at school with, like there was somebody at my son's school. Every morning, this man spoke to him. He remembered his name. He was, Mommy, he remembers my name. And it got to the point to where if he was bothered by something, that was the person that he asked for. And I think it's just like Nakikia and Letitia said, was like, you have to be willing to be that open space for somebody. I've been that open space for someone that is like, hey, I'm struggling with this, and this, or like, I didn't even recognize how open of a space I was when I started sharing kind of like reflections that I have on Sundays. I posted it on my Instagram, on my Facebook page, had a couple of quotes or had like some pictures and got some negative backlash from it. Mostly from church folks, and was very hurt by that. But at the same time, I also had to recognize that I also was a blessing to other people, because then at that particular time, I had stopped posting because it was like, you're doing this, this is, this person is a nice person. You're destroying them by speaking your truth, by finding your voice. And I was being silenced. And I didn't post for quite some time. And it got to the point where somebody messaged me and said, "Hey, where's your posting? You post every Sunday. Where you at? Your posts are on point." And what's so interesting is they didn't come to me. They've been there, but I didn't express them until I started finding my voice. I started walking, and I started being open to hearing, not voices, y'all. Let me be clear about that. Because people are like, "Oh, she's on there, she hearing voices." No,
I hear what you're saying.
but being able to hear and then being able to actually do what I said I was going to do when I entered this profession, which was, one, be the change I wanted to see. I live by that, but also I'm cut from a different cloth. I can't be silenced. I can't be stopped. I'm not supposed to be. There have been things that have happened in my life that could have destroyed me, but there's somebody else that's there. There's somebody else that's experiencing that. And I never want anybody to feel as alone as I have felt being silent or trying to reach out. And just like Miss Wilma said, it was, "Oh, well, but that person's a nice person." That could not have happened to you. You didn't live my life. You didn't know what things look like. Or not even having a place to go. Not even having a place to go to be like, "Hey, I need some prayer. I need a space." And, "Oh, well, I don't get involved in personal issues." Okay, well, that's nice, but I still need some prayer. And, but it's also still being able to be open to allow people that are spiritual to bless you and to assist you in your healing journey, because it is a journey, and it's a journey that you have to embark on. It's a journey that you have to, once you take that first step, you have to keep moving forward, even if that means that one day I reach out to Nakikia or Miss Karen or even Miss Wilma, or let's be like, "Hey, look, I'm struggling today."
Yeah.
Or like there may be times where Nakikia is like, "You know what? I haven't heard from Shayna. I don't know what's going on. Hey, Shayna, what's going on? Hey, I ain't heard from you. Where you at?
How you doing?"
You never know.
Says, what's your mental health status today?
And you never know whose life you could be saving by being open.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that.
Does that answer some of your questions?
Yeah, it does. And I think for me, maybe I just, I'm comfortable with the stuff that I'm doing. I just sometimes feel like I need to do it bigger, because in COVID, and I'm not big on the internet. It's just not me. I love technology, which is, it doesn't match for the most part. I trust technology. I just don't like social media. But during COVID, I am a part of, 3 little groups. We text each other, check in on each other, call each other and stuff like that. And I feel like I have the support that I need. But I'm looking at the other people that I come into contact with. And I can hear you ladies saying you reached the point of being empowered. You put your stuff behind you. And I understand that. But I guess one of my reasons for checking in is because I just kind of wanted to know. I'm glad to know that you all are here, and I'm glad to hear what you're doing. I think that's awesome. But I kind of felt like, no, but I'm glad that I found out about you. But I just wonder, why don't I know about you? Why is this such a well-kept secret?
Well, it's not a well-kept secret anymore. How you know?
We're in the
information you're about to be able. Everybody who is listening in, who's tuned in via Facebook in the group, anybody who's on the StreamYard now, thank you so much for being a part of this event. But you will have information from all three of us, myself, Letitia, and Shayna. We will make sure that we post the information for you to contact us when you're ready. We'll give you the information for the group. If you want to join the group, Letitia has put the number for the prayer line. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It starts at 7:30. So that information is there. She's got her. Oh, ma'am, before we end, you really do need to, yes, please talk about the Speak Life Transformational Institute, because this will also help in your growing, because it deals with mindset. So go ahead, honey.
Oh, praise God. Yes, because I truly believe that we should have different spaces and places for people, and not everybody wants to. They want to go at their own pace. Mm-hmm. And so in my institute, in my school, it's called Speak Life Transformational Institute. Right now, you will be able to understand the power of mindset and achieving your life goals, because a lot of times we have self-limiting behavior, sabotaging behavior that we don't even understand. Mm-hmm. And we will be able, with these courses, you'll be able to retrain your conscious. I like to talk about the conscious and the subconscious and how you can unlock your potential. Also, as you can see, I'm a minister of the gospel, and so I use a lot of spiritual principles in my teaching. And so I talk about how you can manifest the abundance of God in all the areas of your life. Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited, really, really excited about it, because like I said, I'm one that, I don't like to be pushed. Like, I don't like to be pushed out of my comfort zone, but I can push myself out of my comfort zone. I don't know if somebody caught that.
I caught you. I caught it.
I'm currently doing that.
So I push myself because I want to improve in my thought process. So when I developed this school, when I developed this content, it was to improve the thought processes, and it makes you go through each module. You can't get to the next module without going through the first module. And then you don't want to feel like, oh man, you don't want to fail yourself. And the way I feel like we're not failing, we're always learning. Right. And what we don't deal with today will deal with us tomorrow. And so I really, really encourage you to look and see if this is something that you want to do. And to help you stay focused and committed to pursuing your dreams, because I'm sure I'm listening, even as I listen to Miss Wilma. Miss Wilma has a whole entire school in her belly. Miss Wilma has yes, she does. Miss Wilma has just some amazing things that she can put out into the universe that could help people just like her. And that's why she was sent here to be spoke into, to be pushed out, to say, Miss Wilma, it's your time. That very thing that you are wanting to be birthed, it's your time to push it out. Right? And so sometimes it's just our mindset. So please, I put it in the you see it, Nakikia, in the comments. Mm-hmm. The first module is called The Power of Mindset. That's where you're going to gain clarity. The second module is unpacking your unconscious self. Now you get ready. That's all I can tell you, because it's going to be retraining yourself, retraining that unconscious mind into a new pattern of behaviors. They go that word pattern, but we know it also can mean curses, habits, pattern of behaviors that's going to unlock your full potential. The third module is think, speak, do. I know we all want to wonder, why do we speak, think, and do the things we do? And you're going to find out in that third module. And in the fourth module, you're going to be the master of your faith by applying the word that you learn through the modules.
Thank you, Letitia. And that's mindset is everything. You have to identify what type of mindset you have, and her institute will help you really unlock what it is to have a growth mindset go into a growth mindset from a fixed mindset. That's what her institute is going to help you do. One of the other things that to piggyback from what she's saying, because I think mindset is everything. And in order to move forward in growing and developing emotional intelligence, you have to identify what your mindset is and have a growth mindset in order to be able to go through the steps of becoming an emotional intelligent person. So I would recommend that you do her course and then reach out to me for the emotional intelligence training, because I'm sorry, I believe it's a prerequisite. You're not going to want to go through the emotional intelligence components without having the right mindset, because you can't do it without first understanding where you are in your thought and mental processes, because going and figuring out what it means to be self-aware, controlling your emotions, how to communicate with other people effectively and actively, showing empathy and motivation for yourself and other people. Those are some components in emotional intelligence that people need to have in order to be successful in their personal and professional lives. But mindset matters first. So please reach out to Letitia Nicole about enrolling in her program for mindset, and then piggyback that off with, you know what, I need to be more emotional. I promise you, I for myself, the way I respond to stuff now is so different, because when I had to recognize what type of mindset I had, and then go into, okay, I need to learn how to be more self-aware. That way I can be aware of other people and their emotions. And then I need to know how to regulate my emotions, and therefore I can understand other people's emotions. And then they can learn too how, okay, well, if she's doing this way, I guess I better act like this way as well. You know, be more positive about how you're relating to your emotional self. Does anybody else want to add anything?
You also have to be okay with being uncomfortable. And yes, spill the beans.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna just tell you right quick. You're gonna, first of all, dealing with Letitia. She don't want to push you, and she's not gonna push you. But you should feel a little bit convicted about being pushed, because this is about your personal growth, your personal development, and being better as a human being. So your overall quality of life will be wonderful and fulfilling, and you will feel so much better, mind, body, and spirit, going through these new programs to build yourself as a person. It's a challenge, it really is, but it's worth it. That's why I was able to start this group. I was uncomfortable, but I know what I know. So I said, you know what? I know what I know. So I'm just going to use myself as I wouldn't say guinea pig, but I'm going to use my experiences to help other people. And I just say, you know what? I'm going with it. It's going to be what it's going to be, but it will, this type of growth will make you push yourself. It will make you want to be better. And then it feels so good. Letitia said something to me earlier. She said, girl, you just look, I'm just so happy. You just look so happy. I'm like, honey, I don't know if I ever felt this good in my entire 45 years of living. I'm like, this is the best I've ever felt about me. When you feel good about yourself, you walk and you talk differently. You speak with confidence. When I walk now, I notice I walk with my head up. Even when I'm out walking, just trying to, get this fluff intact, I'm walking with my head up and I'm looking around. I walk with confidence, and I'm like, dang, girl, okay. And I'm not trying to, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm patting myself on the back.
You better say that.
I am patting myself on the back for this growth because I went through hell and how
Hallelujah. Jesus.
Yes, you have.
to this point in my life that I ain't letting nobody, not even myself, take it away. I worked too hard to get here.
Thank you.
I worked too hard to get here, and that's what these programs, just this development, this going through these programs and surrounding yourself with good people with good energy, supportive people. Mind you, some of them people, you think the people that you are around daily are your support system. No, be careful. Sometimes it's not your best friend. Sometimes it's not your mama. Sometimes it's not your sister or your brother or your cousin. Be careful. Everybody don't want to see you grow because when you grow, it makes them uncomfortable. I just want to say that. I'm going to step on my...
Dr. Shana said, I can spill the beans. Dr. Shana said, I can spill the beans. Okay?
What's the beans?
I'm about to spill the beans.
Okay.
Because it's 8:50 and I know y'all can meet us over there on Courthouse, but it ain't Courthouse. What is it called? Clubhouse. But I can't leave y'all out because I know a lot of people, y'all listen, because I'm so nosy and I want to know about Clubhouse. I keep calling it Clubhouse. I went and got me an iPhone. That's how nosy I am but I'm an Androidian, but I went and got me an iPhone because I'm just that nosy, okay? And so I'm gonna spill the beans here for those of you that's not on Clubhouse. All right. So tonight, Nikiki and I are releasing. Y'all ready?
Now I'm gonna cry.
Don't you cry.
Can't help it. Let me give a tissue.
Don't you cry. So, as I stated before, I'm an author of 7 books. And one of my books is called Healing Toxic Habits. Let y'all see that. Healing Toxic Habits. But here comes volume 2 with my partner, with my sister, Nikikia Wilson. And you. If you would like to be a part and tell your story and tell about your toxic habit and give some great advice how you got through, how you got over. Okay? Because in the first toxic habit, healing toxic habit, I wrote about anger. Anger was my toxic habit. So we're partnering and we're going on street. We're going to the courthouse.
I love her. We're
going over there and we're going to talk about what just went on Clubhouse and what just went on in here, but also invite other people and let them know that they can tell their story. Of course, I have stories about tell your story and give God the glory. But right now we're going on healing toxic habits. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about your own toxic habit, that's growth and development and self-awareness and in itself, self-assessment in itself. And I think where Nikikia is now, and Dr. Shana, you come on. You just tell us what you want to do because it's
I'm inviting myself.
Yeah, listen. Come on in the room. Right. Come on in the room. Renee, come on. Deal, Pear, come on.
Miss Karen, you come on. Wait, what Miss Karen got?
Back in 2006, and I did a couple of had a couple of workshops in the inner city, pursuit of excellence and being emotionally healed.
I'm nosy. I read it all the way
through.
That's good. We can copy that. Yeah, we need all that. We need all that.
Yeah, and an instruction manual to help you on your journey. And it was professionally edited, but I didn't follow through to get it published because the lady told me at the time I needed to add more to it. So I got on this corporate thing, but mainly this is to help us to, the goal was to function in the workplace, which is where my battles were. but it can transition to any area of our lives.
Well, Miss Karen, if you would
Hello,
like
Miss
to
Karen.
be a part of this of this healing book with us, you can take 2,500 words out of that book there and be a part of this, so we can all as a collective help other people heal. Now I know I come from her stuff already written.
Where is
already written.
Where is Miss Renee? Because whether she believes it or not, her story is important.
Yes.
Where is Bernard? He couldn't talk on where he was, but where did he go? Is he still here? Because as a male, his story is important. Miss Wilma, your story is important. Where is Bernard still here? He might have. Maybe he'll come back. But yes. Oh my God. Oh, okay. I'm lost for words now.
So it's on. It's on. All of you that are under the sounds of our voice tonight, we let you know that first of all, you're not alone. Second of all, we let you know that we all have gone through something, but we got to the other side. But in order for us to do the will of the Father, we got to go back through the fire and come pull you through too.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. See, this is what I'm talking about. When God be showing out, He just be showing out. It just who would have thought being invited to do this on this platform was overwhelming for me in itself. And I had already previously talked to Letitia about, helping to co-author the book. I was excited about that. I'm still like in awe of the whole thing.
Can I stop you?
Yes.
Please embrace what you have asked for. I'm gonna tell you that.
I am. I promise you, I'm embracing it.
And not be overwhelmed. You can. I'll give you some anxiety. I'll give you a little bit of that. But embrace what you have asked for.
Ooh, yes.
You started down this path. You walking in your destiny. Yes. You're shaping your future. Embrace what you asked for.
Thank you,
Jesus. I'm not taking that from you.
Thank you. And let me tell you something. And that's okay. When I can see you, Miss Renee. Some of you, and I'm pointing at you, Nakikia, because see, in 2014, I remember asking, and I kind of told you, but I can remember.
Ask.
Yeah, I told you. I remember telling you what you were going to speak on at this event. And this is after going through some assessments and after hearing some different things. And when you spoke, and I remember your mom being in the audience, and I remember how I just remember when you spoke with boldness and confidence. And see, somebody need to hear that story, or somebody need to hear how you are able to break the boundaries of generational patterns, of not being so afraid. Because I heard you at the beginning say sweeping up under the carpet, right? As we were taught to sweep things under the rug. But you were in front of a room with little girls and their mothers. And you spoke from a place of boldness and authority. And you didn't blame anyone. You just spoke the truth. Mm-hmm. And somebody here needs to hear everybody's truth. Because somebody, it can relate to your truth. That was the first time, Nakikia didn't know at that time, that was the first time that I spoke about being molested by my babysitters and urinated on and beaten. First time.
I was ready to fight then.
But because I spoke from a place, I didn't blame anyone. I just told my story.
Mm-hmm.
We can actually see bondage being broken off of little girls and their mothers as they were taking their moms to the bathroom. And then when they were coming back, it was tears in their eyes because little girls was telling their mothers who touched them. See, they didn't have to wait until they were 25, 35, 45, and 55 because they were able to release because I told the story in a place of victory, not a victim.
Mm.
And I'm still able to forgive those that hurt me. Because now I see that it was a plan to kill me, but God said not so. What the enemy meant for bad, God is using for his good, that I'm able to tell stories and give God glory of how I made it.
Mm.
So you meant evil against me. But God. That's all of our stories. The enemy wants you to lose your mind and thinking that you're not worthy to tell your story, that nobody else out there is like you, but it's somebody waiting on you to get over you, boo.
Mm.
Somebody waiting on you to open your mouth and tell God, thank you for bringing me out of poverty, out of bondage, out of I'm gonna go on and say it, out of abortions, out of divorce, out of yeah, see, a lot of stuff we don't want to talk about, out of fornication, out of adultery, out of shame, out of anger, out of, come on, can we talk about it?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
See, that's the problem.
You
Nobody
better
want to
speak on it. Speak on it.
Nobody want to talk about it. How you didn't think. I have a book that's called I Am Beautiful for little girls. Because when I was little, I thought I was ugly.
Mm.
Nothing my mother could say to me could make me believe that I was, at the time, pretty was in, but the publishing said, nah, that's a little pretty not in no more. It's beautiful. I said, okay, so I am beautiful. That's fine. So you couldn't tell me at a child that I was beautiful because I didn't feel like I was beautiful. I felt like the things that were happening to me.
Wow, that part.
And you don't never know because moms have to work. Dads have to work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to send your kids to school. You have them over places and you don't know. So that little girl in that book that didn't believe that she was beautiful, in the end, realized that she was beautiful. And there's little girls out there that can relate because they're looking at everybody else and seeing their beauty. And I believe that God put me here on this earth to push you out of that comfort zone and is going to have you write the vision and make it plain. Because this first book is going to lead to many books out of your belly.
Mm. Well, there are the beans that have been spilled. But y'all, I want to thank you for those of you who have joined this forum and been a part of it and shared yourselves and your experiences. Thank you to Letitia and Shayna for being here and supporting the vision. I am grateful. I'm humbled. I am honored. I am excited, overwhelmed, all kinds of, but it feels so good because I know that what we are doing is about God's business. It's so much bigger than us. There's so many people out there, like you said earlier, hurting little girls and little boys. And let's not forget, there are still some grown men and women with those little girls and little boys in them that have not been healed. And that is what Start Speaking, Stop Stigma is about, getting people to talk about the hurt and the pain and the shame and the guilt and the abandonment and the rejection, all those negative things that we've all probably felt, but were taught that we had to keep within ourselves, not knowing that all that toxicity we were holding was making us physically sick. Now we know it's time for us to grow. And we got to grow forward. We got to grow forward. And I look forward. I look forward to hearing from you guys who are here. We've put our information in the chat, and I put some stuff in the room as well. Please think about reaching out to us and stay connected, because I promise you, we are positive. We want to give positive energy, and we will actively listen. Sometimes I'll let you know. If you want, assistance, my first question to you is gonna be, do you want me to listen only, or do you want a response? Do you want to communicate? That's my my way of doing stuff. So, but reach out to Letitia, reach out to Dr. Shayna, reach out to myself in the future, so you can start your journey to healing. We're gonna end this broadcast. Lord have mercy. It's been y'all don't understand. I'm feeling, my spirit is just real hype, right? I'm hype. So I'm actually glad Letitia and I, and Shayna, we're gonna go over to Clubhouse. Are we gonna do another StreamYard through here as well for those who might not have? We'll figure it out.
So where's the Clubhouse at in your city where you're at now?
So it's another app.
Oh, another app.
And basically we're going to do the same thing that we've done here, but on another platform, and invite people, strangers, to speak, and let people, because I used to actually do this on, what was that, Blab? Y'all remember Blab? Yeah, Blab. I used to come in and blab at like 11 at night and 12 in the morning, and that's normally during a time where people tend to be feeling depressed and alone. And I would speak to that place and lift their spirits, and because we definitely don't want to be. I tell people about my experience, about what happened to me at 2:36 in the morning, as I was holding my 380, about to blow my head off, because I was going through depression. And it took a cat that I have now. Her name is Dora. I love her so much. She just is old and evil, but I love her. But when she was a kitten, she saved me. God used her to save me. She started playing with the red laser of my gun as I was walking, trying to convince myself to use it, because my husband and I was going through separation and divorce. The boys were little, and I was down here. Like she said, I'm from Detroit. My whole family is in Michigan, and I'm just down here by myself trying to make it. And and the enemy was trying to convince me that the boys were better off without me, and they already had a family here. And it took that cat Dora to start playing with the laser that was going up and down. I was wondering, what is this cat jumping all over the wall for? What is wrong with her? What is wrong with us? And before I knew it, I put my safety back on, and I was been crazy playing with her with that laser. She was just all over the place. I said, go ahead. I put that gun back in my drawer, and I laid down. And the next morning I woke up, and God birthed Speak Life. That's what my platform is called, Speak Life.
Amen.
And I was able to look in the mirror and tell myself that you are worth living for.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
And I believed, I began to speak life into myself. And God gave me the reflections and the goals. And that was my first book that I actually published. And so those are the type of testimonies that we're going to be sharing there. But you guys, everything that we shared here, you guys got it. You got it. And you also have, if you would like to be a part of Healing Toxic Habits Volume 2, Mindset Matters, we would love to have you. It's 2,500 words. I'm just gonna say, it's no secret. There is a cost. There is an investment. We would love to have you. You contact either one of us, because I believe that it's time for you to write your story about that toxic habit and help somebody else. So Back to you, Nakia.
Thank you so much. Shana, do you want to leave off with something before I actually end this broadcast so we can actually go to the next one?
Just trust yourself and be open to know that you don't have to be your biggest enemy. You have all the power that you desire to have. You just got to tap into it.
Absolutely.
Yes. I thank y'all so Miss Karen. Oh my God, I don't know what it is, but your spirit is really radiating to me right now. So I would hope that you will keep in contact. I don't know what it is about you, but your energy has really radiated to me. And I just want to say thank you for that. You have such a positive energy, and I love it. So please, if you would just stay connected with us, all three of us.
I plan to.
Where is Miss Renee? She's still, honey, if she is still here. Look, thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome, and I appreciate the three of you.
All right. So we're going to end the broadcast. We're going to go to the next one. But you know what? Thank you so much for joining and tuning in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being open and open-hearted and open-minded. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
We look forward to doing some more amazing work with all of you who are here, who are open to it. We have got to continue to build this type of platform going forward. So I hope you guys will be on board with that.
Absolutely.
Until next time, no matter what, y'all, keep it moving.
Absolutely. Will do. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.